I hear this all the time on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter with these influencers. They're saying that this specific date is the flip of the switch. I'm gonna give you a totally different perspective. And this is how I do my investing. I don't do it based on hype. I don't do it based on someone else's opinion or the people telling me that this is gonna go here, this is gonna go there. I look at history, I look at facts, figures, numbers, logic, and I'm gonna take you from 2009, Bitcoin's inception, all the way to 2024 to 23. And we're gonna call this the switch. A long, imagine 2009, slowly turning this switch to 2030, then boom, the light's gonna come on, and this will be probably the biggest missed opportunity in our living history. So let's start with 2009. So we had two things that I want you to research yourself because I want to hear your feedback in the comments. I want to hear your research. If we all come together and we go deep down the rabbit hole, I'm sure we can come up with who truly created Bitcoin. Now I'm going to give you a little caveat, HBO's documentary. So we'll leave that for the end, okay? So 2009, Bitcoin was created. At the same time, BRICS was created. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa came together. Goldman Sachs created the acronym to de-dollarize. That's not me saying that, they're saying that. They're working a way to break away from the Western US dollar dominance. But all of a sudden, this thing, Bitcoin, was created, this anomaly that was decentralized. It was our own money, a global currency that didn't need a centralized party at the exact same time, okay? So we had Bitcoin's inception in 2009, and Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa were working to de-dollarize right after the biggest financial collapse in America's history. Caveat. Remember, BlackRock was tapped by the Federal Reserve in 2008 to balance out the markets. Put that in your pocketbook, in your notes, okay? BlackRock was tapped to balance out the markets in 2008 by the feds. Bitcoin was created in 2009, and Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa were working to de-dollarize. Then we're cruising along, okay? We're getting out of this complete collapse and disaster in America. And then 2012, the Mayan calendar ended, the old coming into the new. A lot of other things happened in there as well. But they created what's called the Bank Bail-In Committee, which is interesting. So about 12 years ago, they created the Bank Bail-In Committee, which is very different from a bank bailout. A bail-in is where they take the debt of the company or the bank, they turn it into equity and they sell it to another company, and hence monopolization, right? So it's really interesting. What's interesting now, Jay Clayton now sits on the Bank Bail-In Committee in 2024. So just put that in your pocketbook. Rosie Rios was told to reduce coin and cash usage in 2012. She's the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, said she was responsible for signing the last $100 bill, and she was supposed to reduce coin and cash usage in 2012, but she couldn't because Obama turned the printing machine on full blast with the Obama Rescue Plan. So we got 2009, Bitcoin's created. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa working to de-dollarize, okay? Then we come into 2012. There's obviously the beginning of the switch, or beginning of the flip. Then we go into 2017, and for some reason, they were shouting from the mountaintops that this right here, Bitcoin, is used for money laundering. Bitcoin is a pet rock. JP Morgan and BlackRock both said those types of things, okay? Interesting. If you do the research and you look, they may have been investing in it. You need to do your own research. But they were telling us to run as fast as we could from this. I was in banking during this time. You're a criminal if you buy Bitcoin, okay? But remember, Rosie Rios said you need a shock to the system to change consumer behaviors. She couldn't reduce coin and cash usage because there's too much money moving through the system, and then boom, we have a shock to the system in 2020, pandemic. Everybody gets shut down globally, cashless, companies don't accept cash anymore, travel slows down, supply chain slows down, money, cash, coin usage slows down, and then December 20th, 2020, a Ripple case is initiated. Remember who initiated the Ripple case? Jay Clayton, who's on the Bank Bail-In Committee in 2024. Interesting. Jay Clayton initiates a case against Ripple around Xrparmy being a security. He leaves 3 days later to consult for a cryptocurrency firm that increased their position in Bitcoin and Ethereum pretty recent before that, okay? So then we go to 2023, and the very same person, right here, BlackRock, Larry Fink, all of a sudden is talking about a Bitcoin ETF, and he admitted, he said, I was wrong. Bitcoin is a flight to quality. You remember your notes you wrote down? BlackRock was tapped in 2008 to balance out the markets by the Federal Reserve. So do you think that they have some insight onto what's going on in the markets? Another thing, in 2020, the same company, BlackRock, was tapped to balance out the markets, once again, by the Federal Reserve. So BlackRock may have some insight. They're the largest asset manager in the world, 10 trillion under management. They were tapped in 2008 to balance out the markets, in 2020 to balance out the markets, and all of a sudden Larry Fink switched his tone and said, Bitcoin is a flight to quality. That's when I started getting into Bitcoin. I'd already been into altcoins back here. So then we transitioned down from 2024 and what I believe is going to happen to 2030. Now I call it the switch because it started slowly happening back here and it's going to continue through 2030. And then we're going to be in the new system 2030 and beyond for the next 100 years. So now we're in the 2024 to 2030. Bitcoin all of a sudden is a solve for the debt crisis. The very thing that was created in 2009, that was a pseudonymous person, Satoshi Nakamoto, that we don't know who it is. At the same time, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa worked to de-dollarize, and at the same time, BlackRock was tapped to balance out the markets, is now the solve for the American monetary system and debt crisis. Isn't that interesting? At the Bitcoin conference in 2024, you have Cynthia Lummis, who created a bill that wants to pull Bitcoin underneath the Treasury, wants to buy 550 a day, and she says by pulling Bitcoin underneath the Treasury will shrink the balance sheet by 2045 in half. You got Trump, pro-crypto, RFK, pro-crypto, and the left is starting to become pro-crypto because they have to, because Gary Gensler made them bipartisan. Ripple, the most disruptive tech in the world, was sued in 2020 by Jay Clayton, who sits on the bank bailing committee. Are you starting to see the connections here? So was Bitcoin created by a pseudonymous person to be a global decentralized currency, or was it truly created to be the solve for the American debt crisis and the global debt crisis? We have to figure that out. That's why I told you to put down HBO. HBO recently just put out a documentary around who they believe Satoshi Nakamoto is. Do your research. Who's the largest holders in HBO? BlackRock and Vanguard. So the people that are the largest holders in the world, who own the most of HBO, are giving you a documentary to tell you who created Bitcoin. So what are you going to do? Are you going to fight the system and try to figure it out and go down the rabbit hole? Or are you going to watch how money flows through the system and understand, just as Jesus said, who do we give our taxes to? They tried to mock him. He said, who's on the coin? He said, Caesar. He said, give your taxes to Caesar. Give to God what is his and give to me what is mine. The system is switching. From 2030 and beyond, I guarantee you this video will age very well. Welcome to your new financial system for the next 100 years. Bitcoin will be a commodity just like gold. Companies like Ripple will be some of the biggest financial institutions in the world. And Xrp will be the most disruptive technology that has ever hit the system in the financial space. You're going to see innovation, you're going to see technology, you're going to see AI, you're going to see the private and public sectors coming together, and you're going to see some of the people, just like in the dot-com boom, just like in the auto boom, who strategically made strategic investments, held the line, were not emotional, are going to be the new richest people in the world. Warriors, rise, get your shit together, let's go.